The sledgehammers decided to take up meth. Well, and to make it easy, you got to carry your meth somewhere, right? Well, what if your container's too big? Got to make it smaller. Well, it's plastic. Right size container doesn't exist, so we got to make this one work. Let's get to it. Let's weld some plastic. So I searched high, I searched low. I just could not find a meth tank that's going to fit in the spot. So I'm using the tank that came with the kit. The brand is being taped over because I'm sure they would not approve of this particular exercise, so they're not responsible, they're not liable. I'm doing this on my own volition, as should you if you choose to do something like this, because this is not necessarily the brightest thing you could do, but it's what I'm going to do. So in order to get the right size, it turns out I got to cut one and weld it together. And I did do some practice stuff. In fact, let me go get it and show it to you. This is a high-density polyethylene tank from a pressure washer that is now defunct. In fact, there were two of them. I decided to use these to practice on. So before I threw down for things like high-density polyethylene, or these are actually just polyethylene welding rods and the nozzle and all that, I decided to try using a soldering iron with a flat tip and just my hot air gun, this little thing that will desolder things. It's really cool. If you don't have one, you should have one because these are quite useful. I was able to cut down said tank and weld it together. This is the center section that I welded together. Unfortunately, it's pretty ugly. In fact, it also tended to leak a bit. The real issue here, let's get rid of this thing. So the real issue with using the soldering iron and the uncontrolled heat source, basically, even though it is controlled, it's not directional, it'll come clear later, is that it's really tough to keep the high-density polyethylene from actually burning, and that's what the discoloration is. And once that happens, it tends not to stick to itself very well. I mean, this worked. It's ugly. It had a bunch of leaks I had to go back over. I was trying to develop a technique, and finally I broke down, and, because it's relatively cheap, and I bought the right kind of fill rods. Before this, I was actually cutting up strips of plastic from the tank that I was using. In fact, there's one right here. And, trimming them down and sort of using it like filler wire. And, I mean, again, it worked. But once I got the right stuff, and by that I mean you get these nozzles, because the actual welding devices use 8mm nozzles, and it just so happens that my hot air gun has an 8mm nozzle, so these fit perfectly on there. And then this allows you to feed the welding wire, the filler wire, right into it, and it melts, and it becomes very, very easy to do. In fact, this tank here, this is where I ended up, and the plastic's overlapped here, and there's some gaps that I left gaps intentionally to fill to see how they would turn out. So this also isn't like super pretty, but this was really kind of super butch the way I cut it down. So now that I have at least enough practice to give it a shot, let's go weld some plastic. And this is a skill that I should have developed years and years ago, particularly since we actually do kayak quite a bit. We have 3 kayaks. It's good to know how to fix them should they need to be fixed. And I can imagine this being a very, very handy skill for all sorts of plastics, not just high-density polyethylene. It works on all kinds of stuff. In fact, the welding rod pack that I bought has rods for nylon, polycarbonate, ABS, polypropylene, polyurethane, it's floppy, and TPO, TEO, and TPE. Don't actually know what that is off the top of my head, but it's a type of plastic that apparently you can weld. So first order of business with this here tank is we got to cut it down, and we're going to cut it down most likely in the bandsaw. We're going to cut it and section this 2 different ways. We need to make it shorter, so we're going to cut this section out, and then we're going to section it this way and make it narrower. So shorter and narrower is what it needs to be to fit. And we're not going to use that much meth, and plus, when you're starting at over 500 horsepower, how much boost are you really going to run on the street? Not a whole lot. So this is probably going to still be well over capacity for our uses anyway. Let's take it to the saw. Just like regular welding, fit up is everything. So I sanded the edges smooth and flat on my makeshift surface plate. It's just a marble tile. This is actually the underside of it. It's clamped together. I guess let's have at it. Only my second time plastic welding, but what's the worst that can happen? Alright, we're going to let this thing get up to temperature first. Get one of our filler rods. High density polyethylene goes clear when it melts. And in fact, I have this too hot. So I'm going to pull down the airflow and the temperature. I'm going to set it to 300. So we're at 300 degrees Celsius. Less airflow. It's pretty straightforward. Now I know we're going to section this guy like right here. We're going to take out a section here. So this is where I'm going to start. So I have a seam. Now when I sanded this down, it's aligned as good as it can possibly be. I mean, it is plastic. There is some difference when you take a section out of it. So this section here is kind of thin, and this is kind of thin too. I did actually bevel it a bit, so there's a place for the filler material to go. And the other nice thing about HDPE is, well, it kind of smells like candle wax, not like burning plastic. So we feed this in. This is definitely a two-handed job, by the way. And you can kind of see that it's going clear. All right, let's give her a shot. And you kind of want to let the plastic, the filler rod, guide the foot here. I need to go a little faster because you can see those kind of brown areas. This ain't exactly rocket science. Now here I'm going to pick up speed just a little bit. Because as I mentioned, this section is thinner. I can make this turn successfully. It's almost like hot glue. Let's spin it around. We're going to pick it up here and come down around as far as I feel comfortable. Again, just like welding, you want to make sure you're in a comfortable spot the whole time. Alright, now we're going to flip this guy over. We'll do a bead along the back, and I'm going to get a fresh filler for this. The back is a lot thicker, the plastic is. So it's got a lot more of a groove in it. I can go a little slower, I think. Really push it in there. By some miracle, it doesn't leak. So I'm going to go section this thing, I think, here first. Same way I did before on the bandsaw. And then we'll weld that too. Be right back. So you don't have to suffer through what is basically a redundant process. I sectioned that one side. I welded up the inside as much as I could since I had access to it anyway. I figure, you know, it probably will make it stronger and certainly more leak proof. Went through that whole process again, which is largely a repeat of what you've already seen. And we ended up with this. Let's let the iris settle down. Is it gorgeous? No. Is it functional? Abso-freaking-lutely. It's totally watertight. It's very strong structurally, and it should fit. You know, once we put the thing in the car, if we decide we need more trimming to be done, we'll just section this side and narrow it up a little bit more. But I think I'm going to try to keep the tank obviously as big as I can. So next up, we're going to start really working on the meth injection setup and install the injectors into the volute. That's where things start to really get interesting. So I've learned that plastic welding is quite easy. Anybody can do it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you all on the next one. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe and all that happy jazz. And we are getting very close to hitting the dyno and then the track again. I'll see you later.